France has yet to agree how many migrants returns it will accept, says Yvette Cooper. I'm going to read into this more from Sky News, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from Sky News with a headline that France has yet to agree how many migrant returns it will accept, said Yvette Cooper. The UK and France agreed a deal to send migrants arriving on small boats to the UK in return for legal asylum seekers. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. Now, I'm just going to straight off the bat say I don't have a lot of faith in this deal. I do not have much faith in the Labour government when it comes to stopping the small boats crossings. Now, yes, sure, there is in this deal they were looking to send more migrants back to France, and it may seem on paper like this is a really good thing, and it's great that many of them who are deemed not worthy to be in the UK to be sent back. Yeah, on that paper and logic, it seems like that's really good, sort of thing. But as it says there, we don't know the details yet at the time of this recording, so that can change as well. And the thing is, this doesn't fix the fundamental problem of stopping people crossing the channel. And I've always said this time and time again. And I know that there are lots of angry people online who've got nothing better to do with their lives than complain about migrants when it doesn't even affect some people, when it doesn't even affect some people at all. It is really that the only way to stop people crossing the channel illegally and putting their lives at risk, putting women at risk, putting children at risk, is to have safe and legal routes. Safe and legal routes is the only option. Unless you're from Hong Kong, unless you're from Ukraine, there is obviously a different matter for those nations. But any other nations, there are some exemptions with one or two Middle Eastern countries like Afghanistan. There's one or two, not everything with Afghanistan, but there's one or two minor agreements with certain selection of people. But the vast majority, if you are leaving persecution, leaving war, whatever it is, and you want to claim asylum in the UK, there's no legal way for you to do that. So they have to cross on the small boats and land on the UK to claim asylum from there. There is no such thing as illegal migration. There is no such thing. It's a term that's been made up to use to portray these people as bad or vermin or something like that. There is no such thing. There's no such actual thing as illegal migration, but it's just a term used to stir and whip up anger. That's all it really is. If you're somebody like me that wants to actually stop the boats, that actually wants to stop people putting their lives at risk and coming across in the manner that they are doing, then you will agree with me that we need to set up safe and legal routes. They need to be able to be processed properly, that they need to be able to claim their asylum, and if they're deemed worthy of claiming asylum, then we go through that process. Now, France has offered the UK government that the option still remains there, that if they wanted to have an asylum centre set up in Calais, in France, on the other side of France, for people to claim asylum to the UK, and where their application would be accepted or rejected on there. But obviously, Zoe Gardner, I'm an immigration expert, and I do recommend checking out her work, and you can check out her YouTube channel as well. She is an expert on these things a lot better than I and many others out there. She has said that obviously that if you set up an asylum centre on the other side, you have to send. There's lots of workers that go along with it, because it's not just a simple case of it's not just as simple as claiming asylum and a simple yes or no. There's a lot more to it than that, obviously. So there is a lot of work into it. But we have to find a way to stop people dying in the channel, because at the end of the day, these are human tragedies. These are not numbers, these are not statistics, these are human beings. And many of them, the vast majority of them, are leaving their country because of climate change, because they're in war, in conflict, or because they're fleeing persecution. There are countries, as you know, many of them suffer. Many countries are in conflict in the continent of Africa. We know that there are persecutions taking place in Iran and Afghanistan for certain sections of society there. And there's obviously civil war in Myanmar, in that part of the world as well. So there are lots of reasons why people are fleeing. And in terms of us intake, it's much lower in comparison to other European nations. We don't have the lowest, but we certainly do not have the highest, which some people claim as well. And it's not that easy to look up the numbers yourself. You have Google in front of you, and it's a simple case of just having a look at the numbers out there. But do I agree that this deal will make a massive difference? Not really. But well, let's dive a little bit more into it, guys. So the UK has not fixed the numbers yet on how many migrants will be returned to France as part of a new one-in, one-out deal, the Home Secretary has said. Now, I've heard one or two people claiming that it's not technically a one-in, one-out deal, but until I see a bit more of the details, I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon of yes, it is a one-in, one-out deal, or it's not. The Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron announced the one-in, one-out deal on Thursday to return migrants crossing the Channel to the UK on small boats. In exchange for every migrant returned to France as part of the agreement, an asylum seeker who wants to come to the UK via a safe legal route will be allowed entry to the UK if they have not tried to enter illegally. But the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper said that they had not agreed on how many migrants would be returned, after reports said 50 would be sent back to France each week. She told Sky News, "We haven't fixed the ultimate numbers yet, or the progress that will make it as a pilot, because it's right that we do this in a step-by-step way, and we trial this and develop this. I agree that it needs to be done as a trial if they want to make this work. We'll provide updates throughout. We need to get this going. We need to make sure that we get this one-for-one agreement that we make with France, made with France. And by the way, if this means obviously people not having to come across on the boat, that's a good thing. And yeah, it's not illegal. It's not illegal. How many times I need to stress that? So Keir, Mr. Macron confirmed that the pilot will start in a few weeks, but Ms. Cooper insists not setting the number of how many people will be sent back to France as the right approach, because we're going to make sure that this works. She added, we're going to make sure that we can increase it. Just hours before the two leaders announced the deal, dozens of people arrived in the UK on a dinghy, with more arrived on Friday morning as the UK hit its third heat wave this year. So far, more than 21,000 people have arrived in the UK on small boats this year, nearly a 50% increase on the same time last year. The Tories claim it's a gimmick. The Shadow Home Secretary Chris Phillips, this guy can't do anything. Don't take this guy seriously, honestly. Told Sky News the deal is not groundbreaking, it's a gimmick. The Rwanda scheme was a gimmick, and taxpayer money was thrown out. I've spaffed up the wall on that one. Referring to reports that only 50 people a week could be sent back to France, Ms. Phillips said, quite clearly, if 94% of illegal immigrants, they're not illegal, arrive, get to stay here, there's going to be no deterrent effect whatsoever. It's not going to work. And unfortunately, the record ever number of illegal immigrants entering the UK, unfortunately, are set to continue. Ms. Cooper said she'd been discussing developing the deal with the French Interior Minister since October last year. They've also been talking to EU commissioners representing each of the EU's 27 members, who says she has been very supportive and helpful. The Home Secretary added, we've done a lot of legal work on this so that we have a robust, sufficient position to be able to respond to any legal challenge that are made. There will be some challenges, I'm sure. While announcing the deal on Thursday alongside Sir Keir, Mr. Macron said Brexit was the reason for the small rise in small boats crossing the Channel, because he said the UK had no migration deal with the EU after it left, creating an incentive to make the crossing. He said the British people had been sold a lie. Yes, this is 100% true. This is 100% true. Brexit is the reason why we also have an increase in migration, crossing after. Yeah, it was much lower before we left the EU, and it went up after as well. Because we had no way, before we could send them straight back to France. We can't do that now, unless we agree something with France. Ms. Cooper avoided voicing agreement with the statement, but said that criminal smuggling gangs are charging high amounts for people to cross the Channel will weaponise anything that this is happening. Yeah, the UK government can't be seen to be going against Brexit. That's the problem. She said in the run-up to the UK leaving the EU in January 2020, criminal gangs said people had to pay more money quickly so they could cross before Brexit. I'm very sceptical of that. But after that, it continues to saying people would not be returned because the Dublin Agreement was not in place. The Dublin Agreement is an EU law based on the principle that only one country is responsible for an asylum claim, generally the one where the asylum seeker first entered the EU. After Brexit, it was no longer in place, so the EU could not automatically return asylum seekers to the EU country that they have first entered. Well, another reason why we shouldn't have voted for Brexit there. But you guys knew that already. Yeah. Just as far as Macron's comments, he's right about Brexit. Obviously, he's caused a lot of these things. But as for the deal itself, I'm very sceptical about it. I really do have skepticisms about it. It's not going to solve the problem, in my opinion. It may mitigate some issues, but it's not going to stop people crossing on the boats. Like, threatening to send them back to France does not stop them getting back on a dinghy and trying again. Like, you keep hearing Reform UK saying, we'll just send them back. Well, they'll just get back on another boat and come across. Like, that doesn't fix the issue. It doesn't fix the issue. Like, you need to, all they're saying is just rhetoric. I've said this. What the solution is safe and legal routes for people to come and claim, and then we can decide whether their claim is feasible or not. But we don't seem to want to do that. But what do you guys honestly think? What do you guys make of the migrants deal that we have agreed with France in principle? Let me know your thoughts and more on it all down in the comment section below. Now, if you found this video interesting and informative, hit that like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content. Links for them are down below. And also, if you want to financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member by just clicking that join button down below for as little as 99p. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.